So this is for Game Design 2, Week 4, for the Animation State Machines lesson. I'm going to go through this as fast as possible so that those of you who don't want to go through it piecemeal in class can just watch this and be done. So what I want to make today is I want to make a door that opens when we approach it and closes when we leave that area. I also want to build a machine that has health, and as we shoot at it, which means we're going to have to build shooting mechanics, as we shoot at this machine, its health gets lower, and when its health hits like 50, I want it to start wobbling a little bit. And when its health hits like 20, I want it to wobble a lot. And then when its health is less than 0, I want it to explode and then stop moving. So that's what we're going to build today, maybe in a couple of different videos, and I'm going to build it as simply as possible. So in my scene right now I have a plane and I have a first-person controller that can look around. So in class I'm going to make this look a lot better, but this is where we are now. So I'll build a quad. Let's see, if I want the doorway to be 3 meters. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay. And so we'll build this. Why am I building this so fancy? I can't help myself. It's just so much fun to build stuff. Okay, so this is the doorway, one of the doorways. And I'm going to build a 2-part door here. And it's going to be, sure, let's say 3 meters. Or 0.4, 1.5, and 3. And the reason it's 1.5 is because I'm going to make 2 of them. They're going to sit in like this. They're going to be a little bit back so that the player can tell it's a doorway, right? And then this one, let's see, actually I want them to open up. So let's change this to 0.2, and let's change this to 0.2, and let's snap this one there. So they'll actually slide up in front of each other like that. Okay. I'm trying not to add a bunch more stuff. Let's add some materials so that I can tell what thing is what. So new folder, materials, inside create material, and we'll just name this one red. And we'll duplicate it with Control D and name this one blue. So voila. So we have this door. This needs to be named upper door. This one needs to be named lower door. And they both need to be children of a parent game object. So we're going to animate the parent, which is just an empty game object, and then the door is going to move as children of that parent game object. So I'm going to select them both and hit F. I'm going to go to create empty game object. This will build a game object right in the middle of these 2 objects, which works for me. You could also set this to the Y to 0 so that it can be set on the floor like that. And then we can call this door. So we'll make these children, and then we need to animate this. So we're going to have one animation, is that right? So the fancy way is to have idle, open, and close. But one of the fancy things you can do is create an empty animation state for idle where nothing happens, and then you can just reverse the speed of open to make it close. Does the same thing, just in reverse. So we're going to animation. You can go to window, animation, animation to go to this window. It'll say to begin animating door, create an animator, and an animation clip. So two things. This animation clip is going to be named door open. And we could save it in a folder, animations, just like that. And so the important way to set the animation to be in the right spot on the first frame is to make sure that you're not recording on this first frame. I like to take this out to, well, let's say a second, right? It takes a second for the door to open. It might take less time, it might take more, but we're going to move the playhead out to 60 frames, or 1 second. We're going to hit record. And we are going to move, not the door, but lower door. And we're just going to move lower door up to about here, most of the way up. And then we're going to move the other door a little bit higher than that. So what we should see is this. And you can see it's animating lower door position, upper door position. And that's what you should see. So let's turn record off. Let's look at the speed of that normally. Okay, that's pretty good. So let's talk about the animator. So that's the animation clip. That's the single animation. But the animator is going to be on the door script, and it's right here. And we can double click this door animator, and it will pull up here. I'm going to full screen this. So this is window, animation, animator, right? So let's zoom in a little bit. We can see entry goes to door open. So this is a node-based tool. So this is a node, and it goes here automatically. I'm going to right click, create a empty state, and I'm going to name this idle. I'm going to right click on idle and set it as a layer default state. So when the animator starts on the first frame of the game, it's just going to sit there. It's going to wait. And then at some point, it's going to go to door open. And then I'm going to hit duplicate on door open, call it door close, and set its speed to -1. And there's that closing thing. So it's going to go from door open to door closed, back to idle. Shall we see if this works as is? Let's see. Okay, well, full screen's not going to do it. Oh, hey, it basically did it. It kind of flickers for a second there. I'm not sure about that one. But otherwise, it's fine. Okay, let's turn maximize on play off. Thank you. Let's move our game tab down here. Okay. So here's our animator. We want this to happen based on parameters, so like the user enters a trigger. So we're going to build a sphere collider on the door game object, right, the parent. We're going to add component, SPH, we're going to make it a trigger, and then we'll make the size relative to what we think is right. I think about 3 meters away, and the door should open. It might be 4 later on, and since it's at the bottom, it shouldn't matter. You could, if you wanted to, change this back to 1.5, and that way it's centered at kind of waist level or door level, but it shouldn't matter. So this is a trigger. Should I try something fancy? I could try something fancy. Let's go to the animator. Let's go to I think I tried with add behavior. It's possible to add code directly to the animator. It just gets a little different than the code that we're used to using. And we can use regular code all day long, so let's just use regular code. Let's use regular code. Okay, so on the door controller, a new script, create an add, This is the 10-minute mark. I'm going to stop after this door is created. Get Visual Studio to open up. Close this. The question is, will autocomplete work? Let's do no. Thank you, no. Animator, anim. Anim is equal to this dot get component animator. And then void on trigger enter. Collider other. If other dot game objects dot compare tag player and dot set set trigger, and this will be open. So we'll copy this code, paste it, and we'll just call this on trigger exits. And if the player leaves the trigger area, we'll set a trigger close. Okay, all of that without autocomplete. Let's see if there's any issues. The main camera has 2 audio listeners in this scene, so we're just going to delete the main camera. And then we need to create a couple of triggers. So in our animator, oh good, forgot about that. So that's shift and space will full screen these sorts of things. So we're going to create a couple parameters, both triggers. The first one named open, the second one named close. And then with this first one going, so from idle to open, we need to have a condition. So the condition is if open happens, if a trigger runs on open. And then door close gets the same condition, which is simply if door close happens. And then door close should just automatically happen once the transition is done. Don't want you. Okay. Okay, so let's hit play, not maximizing. We'll watch the scene view here, and we'll watch this animator. So if I hit the open trigger, it opens. It loops, which is a bummer. We can fix that. And then we'll hit close, and it should close, and then it should automatically go to idle. Not sure what's going on with that little glitch there. I'll probably make this transition like 0. What happens if I do open and then close? Still glitches. That's kind of disconcerting. Finally, how do we fix the loop? So let's turn play mode off. This right here is the actual animation clip, and if we double click on it, we can turn loop time off. We can probably turn door close. Actually, that might fix it. Maybe it was looping to the top on that one frame where it was transitioning. Close. Yes, loop time. All right. So finally, idle is taking its sweet time, and I want to make it so that it does not have exit time. So anywhere in that loop, you see it's looping over the course of 1 second here. Anywhere in there, as soon as the trigger runs, door open starts. That's good because I don't want to wait on it to do that. Seems like door open's doing the same thing, but I don't think it is. So anyway, that's a smooth door. And our code should work as long as FPS controller is tagged as the player. So let's test it. So we're watching in the game tab now. I get close to the door, and it opens. And it stays open until I get far enough away that it closes. Cool. Alright. Ended up being a 15-minute video, but that works. Alright, see you in the next one.